that taps into the land gameplay and land economy. So I'll go ahead. So keep in mind this still is development build. So some things may break, and I hope the streaming quality is okay. Thumbs up if you can see the screen and everything is working. No thumbs up. Okay. Yeah. So what we have right here is the few new watery regions. So a few new ponds. What we can find here, we see a bunch of map updates. And I guess you noticed me just hanging around with legendary fishing rod. So the system and the way how that works is I probably won't go up there. Is that based on the fishing rod you have, there will be a certain fishing spots you may fish at. But the thing is, even if you have the fishing rod, you will still need to have skill level to be able to fish on those fishing spots. I saw already a bunch of questions where people were essentially asking if there is any limit on how many fish they can catch per day per account, or is there any like limit on how many fish you can catch for with one like a fishing rod. The answer is no, there is no limit as such. You can fish as much as you want, as long as you want. The only thing is each time you want to try to attempt fishing, you will need a fishing bait. And every attempt basically consumes one fishing bait. So theoretically, you can fish as long and as much as you want. Unless you run out of the fishing bait. So the question is, how do we get a fishing bait? Fishing bait will have two main sources where it can be obtained from. One of them is the forge. So people who are like participating in a forge and clearing waves will often find fishing bait as a drop from the monsters from the disease they kill inside the dungeon. And another way to obtain is through the regular dungeons, and they are starting to drop from level 15. So once you reach level 15, you will be able to see. Okay, I don't have like unlocked levels here. The fishing bait as a drop from regular monsters over there. So this way, we wanted to tie in the distribution inflation of the fishing bait through the core loop. Fishing bait will be tradable, so if you don't want to use it, you will be able to just sell it or trade it to other players who may want to focus a bit more on the fishing. Another thing what we see here is the new menu, which is a skill menu. Right now, it hosts two different skills. As you can see, each of these skills has a certain level. And by doing a certain thing, for example, fishing, with each fish you catch, you will also obtain an XP. Once you collect enough experience points, you will automatically upgrade that skill to next level, which then will unlock a better success rate for catching fish. At some certain level, it will start allow you to equip better fishing rods. And I think most importantly, at a certain level, it will allow you to fish in more, let's call them higher level fishing spots. And
So a
higher
quick
level
question.
fishing
You
spots,
sorry,
yeah.
Euler, you just mentioned that do you need also a level to equip the fishing rod, or you can equip the fishing rod even if you don't have the level? So I mean, if everybody
Uh,
starts fishing now from level 1, can you still use your legendary fishing rod if that's the only one you have, or you have to get your hands on a common one first?
So the way how I'm thinking to approach this is that you will need to have a certain fishing level to equip a fishing rod. Right now, it's not set as that, and we may introduce it either with like official like fishing update release or one update after that. And the reasoning behind this, it won't be anything crazy. It will be just more or less a good practice for user experience. And the same principle will follow the moment we introduce the taming skill. So with these skills, we right now see only two skills. In total, there will be nine. Fishing and cooking are the first two skills we start with. So yeah, we may introduce some symbolic level or requirement to equip certain fishing rods, and I believe that also helps a bit when it comes to issues we've seen with people trying to exploit the system by just sending their equipment around different accounts. And a good way to like combat that is require all of these accounts then to have a certain fishing level to even be able to use that fishing rod. Like I said, nothing crazy, more or less just it's aimed to be a better user experience. So right now what we have is four different types of fish, which will roll out in update on February 6th. Each of these fishes, you can already see the colors: common, rare, epic, and legendary. Uh, First of all, they will require a fishing rod of same rarity to be able to fish in the ponds or in the rivers where you can actually find them. Also, it will require you to have a certain fishing level to even be able to fish in these ponds. Generally, the better fish will give better uh, healing, basically more HP when they're used in the battles. So new players will probably get away with just using a common fish for their low level battles. But as you level up, your enemies become stronger and better quality fish will start to play some pretty significant role. And more importantly, this is also backbone of land economy, and we'll probably tap into that a bit later. I just want to show you the full cycle of how the fishing looks like. So you saw already I caught like some fish. So the moment I catch it, it's raw. So I will still need to cook this item to be useful for me in a battle or later on in lands. The moment we go and okay, I lost fish. So there's always a slight chance that you won't be successful when you're trying to catch a fish. Uh, so what happens next is I have my raw fish and now I want to cook it. I need to come closer. Okay. Uh, I may try to cook this one, but I don't really have a professional level. So my skill is not high enough for me even to be able to cook this fish. So all the players will start by leveling up their cooking in order to unlock ability to fish to cook the rare fishes, right? So many fish names. So, and what I will start with is I'll try to cook the common fish, the basic one. With every fish I cook, I gain some additional experience points. Whenever there is cooking involved, there is always slight chance that I will fail. So either fish will turn into a burned version, which means it won't be useful in a battle, so it's kind of like a wasted attempt. Or it will turn into cooked version, which is perfectly fine to use in a battles and later on to support land economy. Uh, yeah. So as you see, with every fish I cook, my experience increases a bit, and soon I'll be able to unlock new level, therefore new capabilities. Yeah, so that's like quite a quick demo. This is also our first attempt to launch a fully player-driven economy. So don't expect us to drop the fishes or other stuff. All of fishing will be done by the players. So all of the supply of these items will be controlled by players themselves. And
So
the
one
same.
question. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, go on.
While we're while we're at the pond, so each fishing pond that we have, it hosts only one fish, right? Or how does this work? So let's say in the first pond, people can catch only the common fish. In the second pond, they can catch both the common and the rare, or only the rare one.
No, right now it's set up in a way that each pond hosts one type of fish. What we are thinking, and we'll probably do that, is we will include like the shiny version of the fish, which is more or less like a trophy, with like ultra low drop rate, so we can add some level of surprise there. But at the same time, keep in mind this is like the first version of the fishing, and we didn't want to complicate things too much. It doesn't mean we won't later add multiple types on the same fishing spot, and there will be many changes in the future once we release the new world map. So you can definitely expect different things coming in a form of a content on the system we have already built. Yeah, so one fish type per fish pond. Yeah, you can see I can't fish here because my level is too low. And maybe we'll throw in a bunch of surprises through the next updates. Yeah,
And also, as we
hope that
go,
answers the
like
question.
currently, so currently, all the fish that you can get, so whether it's common, rare, epic, or legendary, the first fish we're publishing only restores health, and so each uh, corresponding rarity just gives you more health. In the future, though, we'll of course be looking at introducing fish that give you other different buffs, but also because there's going to be other professions like the herbalism and so on, where you'll be able to make potions. We have to kind of map out and strategize which items give what types of buffs, but there's definitely lots to expand into.
Yeah, we
Um,
we definitely wanna. Sorry, go on.
I want to quickly butt in to address the point of there's no point for common rod user to level up and play more. There is, as you level up, you do become better at the fishing. And little teaser, Euler will tell you more about it. As these ponds have limited amount of fish, and as they get depleted, they need to cool down a bit. When you're better at the fishing, you have better chances of catching the fish and beating other players with lower level of fishing. So, regardless of the pond and regardless of the rod rarity, training fishing is beneficial for you, especially if you want to get a head start on land gameplay when even more fish is introduced.
Yeah. So I already saw the question. What's the difference between the fishing spots you have here in the lobby and the ones you will have on the land? Think of them as what we introduced just right now is the basics, where you can catch grasslandish type of fish. It doesn't mean it will be the same fish what you will find on the land, but this is more or less us introducing a skill which we want to test before we roll out the fishing skill on the lands. So the big difference will be that each land environment, each land biome will offer uh, different kinds of resources in terms of fish. So each land will have its own unique fish type, which will require a certain level for people to be able to fish on them. And if you think from that perspective, always be competition. There will be probably hanging tens of people around competing for the same fishing spot. On the land, you will basically restrict access for the public, and only your tribe members will be able to essentially use the spot. What's interesting is that even if you have some, let's say, very exotic biome, arcane, that fishing spot on arcane will require pretty high level of fishing for you even be able to catch those fishes. So that means in the beginning we expect to see quite a lot of demand on more common biomes, as people will try to level up their skills in order to be even able to access these high level biome fishing spots. So yeah, look on this thing, what we have here as a demo and early access to the fishing, where this only offers like 5% of the content what's about to come together with the lands. Yeah, let me check if there are. Will there be limited number of fish, and how many? If you mean like fish type, right now we have 4, but on the roadmap we
No,
see
it's
more
about
than
how much
20
you
new.
can. It's about how many people can fish at the same time and how much supply there's daily.
Oh, there is not no fixed supply. It's more or less like a cooldown thing. So when you fish really heavily, let's say in this pond, at certain point it will trigger the cooldown, which will require players to wait for like 10 seconds or something until the new fishing spot will spawn. And players will be able to keep going on. So this just is more or less hygiene thing, which which don't really have aim to control the supply. Rather, it won't let the whole thing become too spammy.
All right, cool.
Okay.
If no more questions yet, so I think there's probably a question about fishing routes. So since the weekly harvest has completed for now, the only way you can get fishing rods is from OpenSea or Trove. And so I guess the question is if we plan to reintroduce fishing rods, and if yes, in what capacity and how will new players be able to get them in the future?
So right now we don't really plan to like drop a new batch. So it's always when we are releasing certain new items, they come in certain quantities. We don't want to have like oversupply. I believe right now we have more than enough fishing rods in economy for everyone at least have a chance to try that. You can still obtain Harvest Loot Pod, however, from Discord shop or from the in-game shop. So we really haven't stopped the new fishing rods coming into ecosystem. We just have stopped the harvest event where we were giving away these boxes essentially for free. So
Yeah, or
there is
or
still
for
a way.
example, the Forge as well.
Yeah, forge as well. You can also get a harvest loot pod in a forge. So there is still, it's not that easy anymore, but there is still plenty of ways to get your hands on fresh fishing rod.
Cool. All right. So perhaps if no more questions yet, although you guys welcome to drop them, we can move to the next point. Jackal?
Yeah, I think let me ping pong this back to you because the next Next topic, if you're done with the fishing and the questions. Uh, yeah, sorry guys. Uh, yeah, I think we're slowly moving into the land development. Uh,
Yeah.
Unless you guys have some more questions about fishing. No, we don't.
No, we
Let's
don't.
go.
Okay.
All right, let's
Uh,
go.
yeah. Okay. I can start with elephant in the room. So the land staking. It should be out either end of this week or next week. Like we just like today we finalized the configuration files, and I think audit is done. So I'm waiting on last estimate when it's going live. Like we stated, like yesterday or 2 days ago, there was a few questions on general chat about the rewards. So before the land mint, we announced that there will be 3 billion V tokens in total allocated for the landowners. With the land staking, we start by allocating 10% of those of that pool to staking rewards in the first phase. So once the staking rolls out, there will be 300 mil V tokens up for grabs, and yeah, so should come out any minute, and we'll definitely keep you posted around that. The reason why it's so long is because it's hard staking, and we really didn't want to take any chances when it comes to people trusting their assets on a smart contract. So I think the contract already has 3 or 4 audits completed, and we want to be like 100% sure that when you trust your assets with the contract, it's perfectly safe. Okay, so I guess we can move into lands and land development and how that like generally looks like. So even before we start talking about development itself, I wanted to point out uh, one interesting thing. What I realized when we are talking about player-driven economy, and I want you to think of all the lands as a country where each individual land acts more or less like a business. And the thing is, I've seen like many people like being not very happy when they found that their reveal got their grassland. Everybody's of course hoping for the arcane or any other like rare biomes. But the thing is, the way how it will work is that no biome is self sufficient. Like basically, no biome can survive on its own. So they will still need to import and trade materials which are found only on other lands. And when we are looking on the grass biome, uh, think of them as a business which is supporting whole ecosystem of lands with majority of the food and majority of the ores. I can give you an example. Let's say arcane land is some fancy type of business, like let's say it's iPhone factory. Yeah, they are producing very complex and fancy stuff, but in order to build that factory and sustain it, you will still need food, and you will still need materials to build that factory. And this is where the grasslands come in. This is where the desert lands come in. They will be basically the lifeblood of all economy, and players who controls those lands will be basically controlling the whole supply, because the way how we are building the economy is that No one can survive just on its own. You will still need to rely on other tribes providing you with required resources. Think of this in a way where, let's say, you hold arcane land and it has okay, no, let's use the highland. You control the highland and you have a mithril which is found on that land. In order to mine that mithril, $1 worth of mithril, you'll probably need to consume 20 cents worth of fish, which comes from the grassland. So this is the way how we are thinking to combine the economics. And at the same time, one thing which we are building it around is the fact that you will be able to assign your Z's to work on these lands as well, uh, basically along with your other players. So it's quite an interesting topic, and we'll release a bunch more on that. But the land economy, what we're building, is something completely new, and we have pretty big ambition around that. So yeah, and the fishing is basically the cornerstone. Uh, yeah, the fishing is basically the cornerstone for all land economy to work, which later will be supplied with 7 new different skills. And we can maybe share some, maybe we can share some of estimates around that. So the next skill, which will come around February, late February, early March, will be taming. So this will be basically a combat skill which can be trained whenever you are battling disease in the dungeons. Essentially, this will become a way for uh, players to be capable of controlling higher level Z's, second evolution Z's, and it will be crucial to represent the progress and it's kind of more or less a way to also combat some of the problems we've had with players just shifting assets around different accounts. So right now, if you send someone like level 100Z, you he will still need to have the level to use that Z. Afterwards, we are looking on farming and herbalism around April. So farming and herbalism will, it's kind of self-explanatory. Farming will allow you to grow different things like herbs, trees, different berries, bunch of different stuff. And herbalism skill will allow players to turn all of this stuff into potions, which will then act as a way to boost your capabilities in a battle and outside of the battle as well. And fourth batch of updates regarding the skills will be coming early summer. These will be 4 new skills what we're going to introduce: mining, crafting, soul crafting, and shamanism. So I believe mining and crafting is quite self-explanatory as well. You will be able to mine different ores and rocks or gems, which can later be turned into armors through the crafting skill and different other items. But this presented us with quite a challenge because fishing and farming, they generally produce consumable items which uh, can be absorbed by the players. When we are looking on the crafting, we are presented with the inflation problem. And in order to tackle that, we are introducing 2 new skills alongside mining and crafting, which is soul crafting and shamanism. So shamanism, think of shamanism as a magic, so as a way to do magical things. And one of the very important skills, like these magic spells, will be ability to turn any item into V token. So this basically means that they have to come all together. So we can have a good, healthy economy the moment we release mining and crafting. And essentially, soul crafting is a bit simpler skill. It will reward every time you kill some opponent in a battle with a soul, and that soul later can be turned into um, different element soul, which then is consumed to perform these shamanist magics. So yeah, and with having all of these 9 skills, we will have a base to release the full land economy. So this is something very crucial for us. And as the development is going on, we will still be introducing all of this new stuff for you players to just try them, so we can collect the data and we can improve the skills. But at the same time, we will be working on what even almost feels like Zverse 2.0, which is this open world, which presents. I think the first thing you will notice, it will present way better graphics. As we are now on Epic Store, we can afford to basically burn some high-end video cards, and we are planning to use that to maximum extent. Yeah. So as the development on open world have already started, at some point we will introduce. At some point we will just introduce a new lobby, and we'll probably hold some event to kind of get rid of the one we have right now. We haven't really decided yet. Jay is working on some narrative around this, so maybe he can share some details. But yeah, once we release it, we want to make it with the boom, and basically give you this whole new world to explore, which will be numbers of times bigger than what we currently have. And yeah, maybe Jay, you have something to add on this.
So for the kind of the new training lobby.
I mean, like, I wouldn't call it a lobby anymore. It will be a pretty vast world with a bunch of stuff happening there.
Oh, you mean about the mainland? Yeah, so kind of the idea is that by the end of March or so, but of course, it's very it's a brave timeline again, so I would expect some delays, of course. But we want to release the land. So the way you maybe have imagined it is that like a day is gonna come when hey, there's this big Zevers beta coming out with all the new content and a bunch of stuff. And one thing, the way we want to approach it, because otherwise, if we were doing it this way, you'd have to wait like a year, right, or so for the land update. But of course, we want to get it to you as fast as possible, but at the same time balance out like how much time we invest in collecting this new content and at which point we release. So when it's released, it actually feels like an important and impactful update. And so our goal is to actually hopefully release the first MVP of the new land in a few months that will come with kind of the first big town that we'll be building, where a lot of the stuff we have right now in the lobby will get transferred to there and expanded by a lot. And so the idea is that we'll keep the current lobby, we'll simplify it a little bit, and we'll keep it as a tutorial island for new players to come in. And then once they complete the intro quests and kind of get acquainted with the game, they'll be able to get transferred to this new mainland. And we still haven't come up with a name for it. You're welcome to drop your ideas because all of these fantasy games uh Elder Scrolls and so on, they have these names for the lands like Tamriel and so on. And so we haven't come up with one yet for our land. So you're welcome to help us. But either way, it's going to be this land that you get to. And we want to make sure that once you get there, there's already a bunch of interesting stuff to explore. That hopefully it's going to launch with a couple biomes. So if you think about right now, the lobby is basically the grasslands biome. And so that's going to be the main one that the MVP land launches with, but we also will try to incorporate some elements from the other biomes, like the desert or the wetlands. And then as we go and we expand the functionality and the land, that with each new update, we'll release a new biome. And, that's going to come with new fishing spots, new farming spots, and so on, and kind of, build it like that piece by piece. And kind of big part of it is going to be the questing system that's going to both kind of introduce you to all of these different skills and bring you through the progressions, and also immerse you into the big kind of conflict and storyline that we're developing for the mainland. Because as you know, we have this foundation for the lore with the corrupted gods and the gods of order and kind of this fight for balance. And so with the mainland, we're also going to be coming out with a storyline where you'll be able to progress over the world and kind of the backgrounds and all the good guys, the bad guys, so to say, and so on. So it's going to be really exciting. And so that's what myself and Kiwi are working on right now, is developing this first kind of settlement that you'll be visiting, and also kind of the whole system and structure around questing and the progression in game and so on. So really lots of interesting stuff to look forward to. And even before that goes live, we have another interesting and quite significant update coming out, hopefully by the end of February, maybe beginning of March, together with Treasure. And so, there's going to be a very nice kind of quite a fulfilled couple of months. So it's not, the beginning of the January was a little dormant because we were working on launching fishing and everything else, but now we're picking up steam again, and you can expect seeing more updates like every couple of weeks or so.
Yeah, 100%. We basically needed a way to kind of collect ourselves. We had some technical debt from last year, so we really wanted to iron a few things out. And right now we are going ahead full steam. Yeah, so I think the challenge for us this year will be like, if you think working on the lands and working on open world, it almost feels like we're working on two games at the same time. And the only way how we see this doable is generally testing things out in a public before we include them on private lands, because I don't think any landowner would be very happy when we just start to change their NFT. So we don't think it's reasonable to do so. So we want to really make sure that everything is tested prior to that and tested out publicly. So we will give access, and we will give access to these new things, just to try, basically just to have a small glimpse on the open world map. And like these kind of worlds, they are not being built in months, sometimes not even in years. So the open world, what we are about to launch quite soon, is we'll have constant expansion packages. So we'll probably start at like 5% of what it will be. It will be still way larger than the world we currently have. And then we're gonna just keep pushing and updating it with new stuff to do, new Z's, new quests, new dungeons, new game modes, new items, basically you name it. And this year's gonna be pretty exciting. Last year we spent most of our time actually building infrastructure. So I have to apologize for the players who have spent grinding the same content all over. And it's not that we can't build or include the new content. It's basically we still have to build these systems first. So later we can be rapid when it comes to populating this new stuff with the content. And this year basically promises for us to add a bunch of new Z's, and we're gonna start with Z's actually pretty early on. I know we have some OGs who participated in first Genesis eggs. I won't say right now what will be inside these eggs, but what I can say is we have never forgot about that, and we are preparing very pleasant surprise for one of our earliest believers. So yeah, hold on to your eggs, and we'll have a pretty big surprise quite soon.
Yeah, and just heads up. Uh, well, surprise or not. One thing keep in mind: there's the snapshot for these Genesis egg holders, which was the first collection we launched over a year ago. It's getting discontinued because kind of the whole structure around eggs shifted a bit, and so all those people will get what they deserve. The snapshot has been taken, and so just in case you find that collection somehow, even though we hid it in OpenSea and so on, don't buy the eggs because the snapshot has been taken back in November or December when we were doing the land sale, because all of those players also received a rare land, all the stakers of the eggs. But so those who have them, keep them. Those who don't have them, don't buy them, because you won't have any use for it.
Yeah. Yeah, you will soon see something happening with them. So yeah, just stay tuned. I see the question about Mr. Block box. So this box will. So first of all, this box was rewarded for people who participated in um, off-chain Taipei event, which we co-hosted together with Curve Finance last year in December. And I don't want to spoil what's inside them, but again, expect some new content, and I'll just leave it like that. Yeah. Next question. uh,
So what's next on the agenda? Maybe we can move on with that.
yeah, totally. One sec. One sec. One sec. Jago, what's next on our agenda?
Generally, we have gotten over the big talking block. We can focus on the AMA aspect of this, and um, there's one small announcement we've got to make, that we're going to be uh, slowly sunsetting the current ambassador program to make space for something new. What it is will keep hidden for the time being, but we're working on something that will take its place. So yeah.
Yeah. So we saw like there are quite a bunch of the problems with the ambassador program as it is right now. We saw people like spamming different people wallets with ambassador tokens, and we thought of the solution, but actually we ended up with ambassador program V2, and in order to make room for that, we will be sunsetting the existing ambassador program in order to relaunch something way more interesting quite soon. Yeah. So another thing, another thing which I want to actually hear your opinion. So as the development is ramping up and we start to have some fancy new stuff to show around quite often, uh, we will start to think of way to let in some people from community to test these new features and builds. I mean, development builds. I still don't know the full process of that, but that would be a great way to collect some feedback and for people who and the people who have some voice in the community to share and help explain these new features and collect feedback from the rest of the community. And let me know what you thought of today's fishing demo. I think we could start to organize more spaces more often, where we can share and stream some development updates. Yeah, I think now it's time for a bunch of questions. So yeah, let me just quickly go through, but I think most of them are covered. If anyone wants to come on the stage, just raise your hand. And yeah, you're free to speak.
I think it's probably worth mentioning that next week we'll also maybe Jack will put together a Medium article about fishing. So because I see there's some questions that are recurring, and so we don't waste time kind of going over them again. We'll just put out a Medium article with all the details where it describes, which fishing rods you need where and what you can catch with them and so on. Uh, I don't know. Isn't also with fishing there's this other update, or has it come out already, or is it with the potion stuff in dungeons? Maybe you want to mention that.
Uh, yeah, I think potions actually came out today. I have to check with the dev team. So one thing we introduced to see, it's more like an experiment to see how this works, is the energy potion. So you may find a new item available as a drop from the dungeons, which is energy potion. And energy potion can be used to recharge your energy, so you can battle out a bit. Uh, potion's not out yet. Okay, potion's not out yet. So potions are probably coming with fishing. So yeah, that's nothing too crazy, but we saw that it may give some strategic advantage when it comes to more hardcore combat activities like Forge. So yeah, we'll closely monitor how that system works. This is the first kind of potion we are introducing, even before the herbalism skill. So we want to make sure that it works fine, and based on that, we will decide: do we want to keep this thing in a game, or we will kind of remove it at some point in time. Okay, I guess I just spoiled.
And so I don't know if people kind of paid attention to how actually significant the potions are. Because so as far as you know, and we've had some requests over the time to increase, let's say, the limit of energy for mask holders, or increase the regeneration rate, and so on. But so far, everyone's been having been on the same playing field with the energy, how much energy you get. And so just to reiterate, the potions that are coming out with fishing, you'll be able to get them in dungeons. Maybe we'll kind of discuss other ways to acquire them in the future, but it's basically each potion you get is going to restore one energy for you, and those will also be tradable. I don't know if right away or maybe a little later, but so now if you want to grind it out, and especially for competing in the forge, you'll be able to get your hands on extra energy, which I think is going to influence the whole event quite a lot. And yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what the dynamics are, and how people choose to spend their time. Maybe some people will just try to grind for potions and sell them. So, our economy starts becoming more and more circular. So with the baits, with the token, also, I think with the heist tokens, we had a plan to have those on chain as well, right? When's that coming?
Yeah, all of the items free to withdraw, free to trade. So I believe that may actually come together with the potions. Yeah, so that's definitely coming out. Also, I see people asking about evolution. So this is actually another thing what we are working on right now, and I don't have exact date, but we are going to introduce pretty soon an evolution for your Z's, which will basically bring combat and leveling up game to the next level. Because we are like closely monitoring the player base. We see that many players already reached like level 50. They're waiting for new content, new updates, and evolution will be one of the steps towards that. Yeah.
And have you decided on the
So
final structure for the number and
uh,
levels of the Z that you need?
yeah, you will need three same type Zs. All of them have to be level 50. Two of the Zs will be sacrificed, and their energy and souls will be used to evolve the chosen one, and that will transform into second evolution Z, which will then unlock level cap of 100. So with this update, you will be able to cross level 50 mark and start your way, start your path to level 100. Yeah. Yeah, all of these have to be level 50 for Evo to happen. It may
Maybe you
feel
can,
quite a lot. Sorry.
I don't know, maybe you want to explain kind of your thought process there, because I know we had some heated discussions in the suggestions forum, and I think Tyler had made one proposal where it kind of the idea I think was that it takes equal amount of time to get the Z from level 1 to 40 as it does from 40 to 50 or something like that. So maybe you can explain why did you decide to go kind of this hardcore for the evolutions.
I okay, yeah, sure. I think I even had like that discussion with Tyler in that like in that ticket. So the thing about this is I wouldn't call it like hardcore, because the real hardcore comes when you have to evolve your Z to third form. So when we compare level 50 to level 100, level 50 doesn't really seem so crazy. And at the same time, level 50 just represents around 5% of max level, maybe 7%. So our intention and our idea behind economy is that each Z represents the amount of work B token players have put into them. And on a purpose, this has to be hard. If this thing would be easy, then the Z's would start to lose their value quite fast, and that's something we really don't want, because we then use these Z's and this whole idea of leveling is hard as a fundamental base for land economy, where you can start to assign these Z's to certain works. And uh, in order for that to happen, and in order for that to work, we have to be 100% sure that this fundamental Z base is stable. Yeah, so that's kind of the reasoning behind of this. Also, I think with coming of evolution, we will start to see new types of players joining in. I like to label them as Z trainers. So they will be focusing on leveling up certain Z types to level 50, and just selling for the players who don't really want to grind this themselves. In return, the players who buy those Zs from Z trainers will be able to access the new content faster, and most likely that will be pretty positive ROI.
So
Yeah, so
what about, for example, do we have any decisions yet on how on permissions basically? So let's say when there's PvP or there's the Forge, uh, you'll be able to use all the C at all times, or are there going to be limits? So let's say if one team has 3 evolution 1s and another team has 2Z that are evolution 2, can those people compete among themselves and it doesn't matter? Or how do you see that transition go? Where suddenly there's going to
uh,
be quite a big gap, I imagine, with people who have second evolution just kind of crushing everyone else, or is the difference not going to be that big?
uh, the difference, of course, will be the evolution itself will increase your Z stats by around 10%. which is nothing too crazy. But I think the biggest difference will come from you being able to level up your Z even further. So when we are comparing like level 50 Z versus level 50 second Evo Z, the difference is only 10%, and that can still be compensated by good strategy and good equipment. But of course, when the difference, when that second Evo Z is already leveled to level 75 or past that, that's quite a big gap. And it's kind of the same as you would try to fight level 50 versus level 25 right now. Yeah.
And what about traits? So out of the 3Z that you choose, that you evolve, kind of that you sacrifice, will you be able to choose whose traits you want to keep, or will you be able to mix and match them, or it's going to be random?
No, it's more like you have your main Z, which you want to evolve, and then you will be selecting two Zs, which will get sacrificed in a special ritual. And the Z's which are sacrificed essentially gets killed, so you won't get any of them, but you will get their souls to extend your Z to second evolution.
Cool. Okay.
I can't. I kind of want to share a little like uh, conversation I had with Euler yesterday about like philosophy of it. Uh, just for you guys to like maybe take it together. First of all, with the lands and the mask staking, there comes buff for ZXP, and the baseline is we can always like improve things, make them quote unquote easier, but we can't make them harder because then you're gonna wait outside of our office with pitchforks and torches. Um, that's how we start, I think. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's another thing to also keep in mind is that the current dungeon level 70 uh, pretty much gives you XP and V token um, for level 20 Zs. So once we introduce new dungeons, there will be better and faster ways to earn XP and level up a bit. And yeah, so you've been doing things the hard way right now, and once the evolution comes out, this all hard work will be rewarded by giving you access to all the new content first. But I don't think leveling Z's will ever become easy, and it shouldn't become easy. The original inspiration actually comes from the Bitcoin itself. So I see leveled up Z as a proof of work, and if we are building the new systems and economy around the Z's, then we need this proof of work to be reliable. Therefore, we don't really have intentions to make it super easy and super accessible. To give you some crazy thought, to level up Z from level 1 to level 200, which is currently the max planned level, it will take anywhere between 3-4 years. And when you see someone like hanging around in lobby with level 100Z, it just has to mean something. And there is no need for you to like unlock the max level, but what we want to make sure is that each level represents work, and each level represents the value accordingly. So yeah, that's just like the philosophy behind design. Grandchildren will have full evolution. Team tree. Yeah, that's also a
Yeah,
way
but
to
you
look at
guys,
that.
but yeah, guys, but take into account that, when the evolutions come, or at some point will increase the level in the dungeon, right? So you'll get more XP there. There's going to be new game modes. There's going to be potions that, I don't know, maybe they give you double XP. There's going to be certain items that can increase your progression. Maybe, not maybe, but I imagine most likely will hold different events that, let's say, during certain weekend there's going to be a double XP reward or something like that. So it seems extreme right now, The same as when I think, you went from World of Warcraft Classic to Burning Crusade or some other update. All of that seemed like holy shit, like I have to spend as much time to level up. But as new updates come out, it kind of becomes trivial and blends in together. So it might seem crazy right now, but I'm sure it's not going to be like that once everything's up and running.
I guess it will still be pretty crazy because that's the purpose of that. But yeah, like Jay said, there will be bunch of stuff, and there is just no need for anyone to have level 200 right now. It's more about what is the highest level content we have out there, and you will, if you play every day, you can be quite sure you will have access to that. And as we progress, like Zverse is not a game where we are looking in like 1 or 2 year scope. We are looking in 5 to 7 years of development roadmap when we're thinking about the game content map, and most importantly its economy, because one of challenges we are trying to solve in Web3 is to build something what is sustainable, and one of the general rules for something to be sustainable is to have a really strong and good fundamentals. And I think we managed to build the fundamental part last year. So right now we're still monitoring that, but we finally can start to have some fun things in a game. I see there are people asking about shells and dust. I don't think we should really tell what they're for right now, but I can give a hint. They will have something to do with the lands.
All the private lands, I already said in the chat that
Yeah.
people will be able
Okay.
to use them with their tribes on their private lands. But that's about it for now.
Okay. Good. I missed that part. Too much alpha. Uh, yeah. I guess if there aren't any more questions, we can wrap it up.
Yeah, I think sounds good. Okay, guys, thanks a lot for coming by. There's quite a few more people than I thought we're gonna have for the first AMA this year. So it means everybody's excited and following up. And so, yeah, we're here, we're working, and 2024 is gonna be really, really exciting for Zevers. And yeah, I don't know. Do you want to tell people about the new portal in the game and when or how they'll be able to, or where should
no.
they keep their eyes out for the?
I don't know
No?
what you're talking about actually, but
I think our time is up,
Okay.
guys.
yeah, our
Yeah.
time is up. Thank you everyone for coming, and fuck, we are 75 people in audience. That's huge. Um, good way to start the first AMA of this year, and we will keep pushing new stuff, and we'll start to make more of these AMAs in coming weeks. Cool. Keep tuned.
All right.
Last thing to add, I in between this AMA, I had a call with the dev team regarding the land staking contract. The contract is already audited and ready. We had like one small issue where we had to index the metadata so we can tell difference in the staking contract between rare land, legendary land, or epic ones. So the planned estimate is that we can roll it out around Monday or Tuesday. So yeah, keep tuned.
All right. Jackal's gonna post the AMA recording. Talk soon, everyone.
Yep.
Bye bye.
Thank you,
Okay, bye
guys.
bye.
Bye bye.